on to the next part, the main reason I know that you wanted to come to this podcast was to tell us something that is really close to you, really sensitive to you, and will be something that the world doesn't know, really, basically, isn't it? So
kind of, yeah.
And that will base our conversation today, because there's a lot of questions that I have, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions that you have for me as well, and Sachin. So you was telling me that you're actually gay.
Yeah.
And my first question would be is, I get really scared.
No, you don't have to with me.
No. I know with you, I know me and you can have like an open conversation, an honest conversation. The only thing about doing this stuff online, doing it with podcasts, is that you don't want to offend anyone.
No, of course.
So the first thing that I'm going to say is, if I laugh,
I'll laugh with you.
You laugh with me. I'm not taking a mick out of nobody.
No,
that's the
fine,
first
we'll
thing. And any questions that I do ask, it's out of ignorance as well. And that's why we're doing the podcast, is
100%.
because we don't meet enough people like yourself. We don't meet enough people who will have this open conversation with us, because like what we were just talking about, it's very you guys and us guys. And there's a big conversation around Asians, religions, integrating, and I don't have the answers for it, and I don't think any of us have the answers for it, but we can only tell you about our experiences in how it is. The first question I want to ask is, when did you know that you was gay?
To be honest,
I've never asked a gay person this question, by the way, so that's what I want to know.
To be honest, I knew from a very young age. I think I must have been about 6 to 8.
What was it?
Princess Jasmine, I'm not going to lie, off Aladdin. I swear to you, I swear to God. I was like, why am I looking at Princess Jasmine this way? I should be looking at Aladdin, and I'm really not.
In school, Kyle was looking at that.
Trust me.
So when you was in school,
yeah,
was you looking at girls differently then?
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I knew, I tell you what, Princess Jasmine was one, and I remember going to my dad's friend's wedding. It was a big Asian wedding, and I remember seeing this woman there. And I was just like, why am I looking at this woman like this?
What was she wearing?
Really nice sari.
Oh, yeah. What colour is it?
It was white as well.
Oh, right.
I remember. This is what I mean. My memory's really bad normally, but I remembered. And I just knew like something there. It was weird. But I'd had boyfriends, and I was like, okay.
Oh, so you actually divulged into trying?
Yeah, I thought I have to be, because what I'm thinking isn't right. And like, there'd be times where I'd be like, you know, praying that I'm not thinking this way, I'm not feeling this type of way, because it's not right.
So when did you have your first boyfriend?
I was it's probably 13.
13, so really young.
So I did think boys were good, and I do. Like, I think some guys are very handsome, like both very handsome.
Yeah, she's just saying that.
No. But like,
She's not lying.
but like, I just knew like when I had a boyfriend, it wasn't right. But I kept trying to force myself to, you know, you shouldn't be looking at females this way. Like, it's not right.
So why did you at that time not think it's right? Is it because I didn't ask you before? So your mum is English, right?
Yeah.
As in white English from England?
Yeah, with an Irish background.
With an Irish background, okay.
Yeah.
So a bit of, okay, that's fine. And your dad is fully Pakistani Muslim?
He's not Muslim. This is
that's the question.
Yes.
So what is his background?
So he's born Muslim.
Yeah.
His family are Muslim. He's actually converted to Sikhism.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So he's actually a Sikh?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a Pakistani Sikh. I'm guessing he's from Punjab?
His home...
Yeah.
No, Jhelum.
Okay, so he's from Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay,
he's actually Pakistani, but his beliefs, he fell down more the Sikh route. And I understand.
Was there a difference coming out as gay to your dad and your mum? Was that different?
To be honest, I was petrified.
When did you come out to them?
So I was 18.
18, okay.
18.
Why at 18? Why not earlier?
I was too scared. I was literally like, I can't do it. I'm not brave enough. Only a few people like guessed and assumed with me. But I was so petrified, because I thought, oh my God, like, this is horrible news for like people around me who know me. Because I knew quite a lot of people, and I thought they would have thought, oh, that's weird, it's not okay. So I think I built it up more in my head, and to me it was just easier to keep that as a secret. But it got to a point where I had like my first sort of partner at the time, and I was like, it came out. So my mum came home one day, and this girl was just chilling at mine, and she was like, okay, something didn't seem right.
Okay.
So
How old was you then?
I was 18.
You was 18 like your
Yeah, I
mum
was
time. Your
18.
mum walked in on you basically.
Yeah.
In the most
Yeah,
humane
no,
way.
no, no, like that,
I
yeah.
didn't mean it like that. But
yeah, so 18, but my sister knew beforehand. Ironically, it was actually on my 18th birthday. So we'd gone out and they got me really drunk, and I was like having an emotional episode, like, oh, I've drank too much WKD.
Yeah.
Got home.
Yeah, the hard stuff.
And I'm a lightweight, but my sister like took me back to hers, and her and her boyfriend were like, okay, do we need to ask you something? And obviously I'm sobbing at this point, not a clue, and she was like, are you gay? And then I came up to my sister then.
How'd she take it then?
She was the best, like she's wicked. She said she like had an inkling anyway.
So your brother's gay as well, you said, right? Yeah. So
he came up first, which put more pressure on me, because I thought my brother's like my mum's golden. He's the boy, you know. The
eldest as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And granted, she didn't take it the best at first, but she came round. But I think that's what scared me the most, because I thought she's gonna have, in my house, I thought, oh my god, this poor woman, she's got 2 gay kids.
Yeah.
And at this time, were you talking to anyone about it, or were you just trying to face this?
Literally on my own. I was like, I don't know who I can really talk to about it. This is the thing. Like,
were you talking to your brother about it?
No, he had no idea about me.
Okay.
So how come, knowing that he's gay, how comes you didn't like tell him?
I just felt like I couldn't. I really genuinely was like, I can't physically tell him that I am that way as well.
How did that make you feel, knowing that you couldn't go to anybody to talk about?
It was hard. It was really hard, because in my head, I kept trying to say to myself, I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to think, no, I'll be normal. I'll wake up and I'll think, okay, maybe I'll go and date a guy. Maybe it might work out with a guy. I haven't met the right guy. And I was hoping, I was praying on that like for so long, until I'd met like my first sort of partner. And then to me, then it made sense. Like, it's not going to work out with a guy because it's not who you are.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I can imagine like that being a lot of pressure for you. At that time.
It was hard. It was a battle. But granted that the person who took it well was my dad as well. Okay. He was so calm. He was so calm about it. It was just like,
that's surprising, you know, considering that he was Muslim, now Sikh, and
he's
and brown. So that's weird. Yeah. So did your mom not take it too well then?
She was okay. I think she just needed to process it. I think she knew. Yeah. I think she had an inkling. I think once the words were confirmed, it was like, okay, cool. But like I said, I'm so lucky. Like, my family are so supportive, and they're so like, at the end of the day, your happiness is the most important thing, which I agree. The only thing they say is, don't bring home another horrible person, basically. Okay. So other than that, I am lucky in that sense. It's just, I think I was battling with myself, because I was trying to prove that, okay, I could possibly be straight. Yeah. I could possibly have a normal life, but at the end of the day, it's not how it is for me. I am gay, and that's Of
course. So now, when you was in school, so obviously you only came out when you were 18, so your whole school life you went through not saying
there was
that you was gay.
A couple of people, friends at the time that knew, because being in school, there was like a girl that was that way as well, but it was under the radar, and then I was, and it was like, oh, something kind of happened there. And then like some of the kids found out, and they were like, oh, that's disgusting, that's gross. So to me, I was like, oh my god, this is even more like pressure.
How old were you when that happened then?
I was about 15.
Okay, so you're coming to the end of school basically. Yeah. Okay.
But
because I realised that as well, like a lot of the people that we didn't know that was gay in school, you found out after you left school basically. After year 11, you found out that they were gay. Unless they were like, even then, like, I guess it's different for us. I mean, we're more or less all the same age, and when you was from year 7,
he's 48.
Yeah, I'm 48. But yeah, like from from those ages, from like early 2000s, coming out in school must have been hard for a lot of people, because
I agree.
It was really different. I would say not as much as it is now, because it's quite publicized now. You see a lot on TV, a lot of people talk about it. It's a lot more normal now. Back then, being gay,
2007, 2000,
it's not spoke about at all.
And I went to a boys' school.
Oh, did you
Is
all
it?
boys? Yeah,
I went to a boys' school, so I couldn't imagine if someone was gay
in all boys
in
school.
that situation.
Because you lot were all gay in school in school anyways, weren't you? To everybody else.
Everyone was just on abuse.
Yeah,
Like, it could be your mate, but you just abuse them. So like, if you're abusing your friends, imagine if you actually wanted to say something.
Yeah.
There's no one you could tell, and even teachers, you would not even think about it, because if one of them let it slip, done.
Yeah, because that era of being gay must have been so hard. Like I could fully see that as well. So like now you're saying like in school when you was about 15, an encounter happened, and then that made you just be like, look, I can't tell nobody, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So did this ever like did it carry on? Did you get like bullied for it in school? Or did
a bit, you know, like I was not like typically like bullied, but like, you know, a couple of lads would be like, oh, Leza. And it'd be like, oh my God, don't put me in that category. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, I'm not actually. And then this is where I'd be in my head thinking, no, but you're actually not. But obviously, low key, you are. So it'd be like.
So was you like more worried about them like saying these things, or you actually like admitting to yourself that you're actually?
It was both, you know. Yeah, it was a bit of both. It was like, oh my God, I don't want these guys to think, oh, Leza, or like say these words. It made me feel so low, and it was like, oh my God. Not a nice word. I don't like that. But then deep down, it's like, well, you are love.
Yeah.
So, go on.
So let's bring the conversation out of school now. Let's talk about in the workplace. So once you left school, what was the situation like? Let's say with your first job.
Yeah.
So what was your first job?
I actually worked at New Look. So
Okay.
That was my career. I went through like stages as well with like my.
Straight after 18 or 16, did you do that job?
I was there at 17.
17, okay.
Yeah, 17 I was there.
Okay.
I went through some stages as well with my looks. I was like trying to figure out what I liked, what I wanted to look like. And I used to have really short hair back then as well.
Okay, how short?
Like probably like your length.
All right.
Maybe a bit longer.
Okay.
Because it was was it Frankie from the Saturdays? She had short hair and it was a thing.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah. I've got the image of the person in my head.
I forgot what she looks like.
No.
I had a couple. No, they had a couple bangers. They did.
Go on, which one?
I forgot the names, but they did. They had a couple bangers.
But I think some people then assumed or were like, oh, maybe.
Because of the hairstyle. Yeah.
Hairstyle. And I only like sort of, because people would say, oh, have you got a boyfriend and stuff? And I'd be like, no. And if we'd go out on nights out, like some guys would come and talk to me. Like, it'd be good looking guys and I just wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
And like, I remember a couple of girls they'd say like, why are you not going like with him? Like, he's good looking. She's like, nah. And then I remember I did say to a couple of them, I was slowly like opening up. And you know, granted, like a few of them were cool. Like my boss was wicked. Like she's still a good friend of mine now. But there was a couple that would just like say I was working on like, you know, man in like the fitting room.
Yeah. And
one of the girls had made a comment like, don't really think that's appropriate when she's a lesbian and there's girls getting changed.
Yeah.
And like to me, I was just like, what? Like.
Yeah, I find that assumption crazy that just because you're gay, you're attracted
to every single female. I'm not.
Yeah,
and I'm fussy as well. So.
But on the flip side, like have you ever felt uncomfortable? I'm asking you this actually. Yeah. Have you ever felt uncomfortable when there's been like another gay person in like an intimate space like that?
Shall I be honest? Yeah. I've never been in an intimate space like that with someone, but. I mean, working in the creative scene, luckily now it's a lot more open. So you do come across like gay guys, like on shoots and whatnot. But I mean, I've never felt a certain way about it, but I think that's just because we're from our generation when we've seen what people were like in the generation above, but then we've also taught ourselves that, do you know what? It's you know, there are people who are, you know, are gay and it's cool. Like that's what they're doing. As long as no one's coming to you and forcing you to behave a certain way, 100%. Like, all good, man.
There's certain people that you could say is ignorant to like what you're saying as well. Like, there's a level of ignorance, but at the same time, if somebody feels uncomfortable with something, I mean, that's kind of their issue. Yeah. But we shouldn't say. I think it's wrong to say that they're wrong for feeling like that as well. At the same time, but correct me if I'm wrong as well. I'm just thinking out loud and playing devil's advocate a little bit, because let's say, for example, a gay person like is a bit touchy-feely with you, or like I've had girls that have been a bit too touchy-feely with me, and I'm a bit like, you need to chill out. You know what I mean? Like don't do that too much, and it's normal to them. So they'll be like, oh, I'm not like moving to you. That's just how I am.
It's a personality
So
trait.
even if a guy does that, sometimes you might be a bit like, not because they're gay, but it's just because you feel uncomfortable being in that position.
I think at that point, I think that the only acceptable thing to do is communicate clearly where your boundaries are.
Yeah.
100%.
Regardless of whether it's a boy, a girl, someone older, someone younger, like whatever the demographic is, like I think the only fair way is to communicate. Say, look, excuse me, I don't appreciate that. I'd rather if you.
Yeah, of course.
And if that behaviour then continues, then I would find that very disrespectful, and then I would say, okay, cool, it's time to action something further.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.